Hi everyone, this video is going to cover how to integrate quotations and create citations in your essays. This information will be on the midterm exam. You will also be expected to cite sources in your midterm essay. So let's get started. First thing we want to do is go over the two types of citations. So first we have a parenthetical citation. This is also called an in-text citation. You'll definitely need to know that. So it's also called an in-text citation. And these citations are used in the body of an essay. So I have an example essay here. This highlighted passage contains a quote. And at the end of that quote, we have, in parentheses, a parenthetical or in-text citation. Now, you should use a parenthetical citation after any information in a paper that does not come from your own brain. Not only are you citing direct quotes from an author, but you're citing the idea that you are using in your paper. So if you have a direct quote or a paraphrase or a summary of something that you've read and you use that, even paraphrases and summaries have to have parenthetical citations. The other type of citation are the citations that we use in a works cited page. This works cited page is at the end of an essay. It's titled Works Cited, and it is a list in alphabetical order of all of the sources that were used in the essay itself. Now, if a source is listed on a works cited page, then that source must make an appearance in the essay. So I'm looking at this works cited page and I would expect to see an in-text citation with the word Cartwright, with the word Fogarty, with the word Gerber, with the word Lee, Rainerman, Rushman, and then a citation with this title as well. So each of these sources should make an appearance with an in-text or a parenthetical citation inside the essay. For direct quotation, so in the exemplification essay that you turned in last week, you were not supposed to use any quotes. Everything was supposed to come from your own brain. But for the midterm, you do need direct quotes because you're using an article to write something. So every body paragraph in your midterm essay should have at least one direct quotation. So let's talk about how to create a quotation in a paragraph. We're going to use this idea of a quotation sandwich. So there are three pieces to the quotation sandwich. There's a signal phrase, there is a quote and parenthetical citation, and the last part of the sandwich is this commentary. Commentary is the most important part, but we're going to talk about all three. So, for a signal phrase is basically a speech tag that indicates that there will be a direct quote that follows it. Signal phrases are needed every time you include a direct quotation. Do not ever start a sentence with quotation marks. You have to have a signal phrase in front of a direct quote. So he said, or the author said, or she said, those are very basic, very average signal phrases. Average grades are C's. So if you use the signal phrase he said or she said repetitively, then your average grade for a signal phrase like that will be a C. Some other more sophisticated signal phrases look like these down here. So according to John Doe, or John Doe asserts that, as Doe points out, your signal phrases need to be sophisticated and strong, just like the rest of your writing should be. The second part of a quote sandwich is the direct quotation. Now, this is where you copy and paste word for word a sentence or a piece of a sentence from the article to put into your paragraph. The quotation shows that the words are not yours. So we put the quotation marks around it. So quotation marks are the two little blips like this. You must lead up to a direct quote with a signal phrase, and you must follow a quote with a parenthetical citation. Another thing to think about when you are adding quotations into your essay is quote integration. So how are you integrating someone else's words into a paragraph that you are creating yourself? Well, good essays include carefully chosen quotations. They use words and phrases, not entire sentences. So you really need to be picky about the words and the phrases that you're choosing, and if there is a complete sentence that you like, you really need to look at that sentence and see if there's anything in that sentence that you can trim down, because you really want to just focus on words and phrases to quote in your paper, not whole sentences. Words and phrases that are taken from the text must be used in the same context. So you can't take something from an article and change its meaning to support your ideas in your essay. The meaning in the article should be the same meaning that you're using it for in your speech or in your writing. Short phrases are much better to use than entire quoted sentences. It is best to try to work the quotation into the sentence that you're writing. If you do this, the portion of the writing before the quote serves as your signal phrase. Having an entire quoted sentence, like copying and pasting large chunks of text into your paper, does not prove that you know how to integrate quotations. It just proves that you know how to copy and paste. Making the quote flow as part of your sentence should be your main goal. Okay, so what does that look like? Well, this quote integration example would earn a D on the grading scale. So we have Steve Allman points out that men's AMJ, or accumulated male junk, for those of you who have not read that article, does serve a purpose. Then we have a period. And then we have quotation marks. Do not start a sentence with quotation marks. You have to have a signal phrase here. And because there is no signal phrase here, this automatically earns the letter of D. An adequate, so C or B quotation integration would look something like this. Steve Allman talks about the purpose of men's AMJ. He says it functions as a reminder of our joyously unkempt bachelorhoods. Again, he said is a signal phrase, but it is very bottom of the barrel, very basic, not very sophisticated at all. So this doesn't earn an A because the sophistication isn't there. And there is an entire sentence quoted here. So we have an entire sentence here, and that's not the best practice. We want to try to focus on short words and phrases instead of complete sentences. So an A quality quote integration would look something like this. Steve Allman talks about the purpose of men's AMJ. He says that the main purpose of AMJ is to function as a reminder of our joyously unkempt bachelorhood. So this is the phrase that we pulled. We did not use the whole sentence. We just used the phrase in the sentence that we could plug into our own writing. And then when you do it this way, all of this stuff here before the quote becomes your signal phrase. So this is what your goal should be when you are integrating quotes into your writing. So let's review just a minute. We have parenthetical citations, which are also called in-text citations. And then we have citations that go on a works cited page. Your midterm essay is going to require at least one direct quote with a citation. So this is the citation I'm asking for in each body paragraph of your midterm essay. It doesn't matter if you are copying or directly quoting, if you are paraphrasing, or if you are summarizing information. All information that does not come from your own brain must have a citation. And then we have 3 parts to a quote sandwich. You have the signal phrase at the beginning, and then you have the quote and the citation, and then the last part is the commentary. So we'll talk about commentary in just a few minutes. The parenthetical citation goes directly after the direct quote, and you should have a citation in parentheses. This is what parentheses look like. Inside the parentheses, you should have the author's last name and the page number where the direct quote was taken. Okay, so for your midterm essay, your parenthetical citation should look something like this. You'll have an author, and then you'll have a page number. And then after that citation, you should have a commentary. Now, in the commentary, this is where we get to explain why the quote is important for your argument, how the quote functions in the article where you find it, or the purpose of including it in your essay. Okay, so basically your commentary explains how that quotation is relevant to your argument. What commentary does not do, it does not simply summarize or restate what the quote says in your own word. So, your commentary should do the explaining. It needs to explain why the quotes matter after each quote in your paragraphs. So I'm going to give you an example. A larger argument here is that Steve Almond's argument is effective, and we are looking at pathos for this particular paragraph, and we are using the quote about how Steve Almond's ex-girlfriend threw away his special sneakers because they stank so bad. The commentary is what you would say about Almond's arguments and how that particular quote gives us strong emotion. So here is what a paragraph would look like. If you choose this article, remember, do not plagiarize. You cannot use this quote or this commentary in an article about Steve Almond's accumulated male junk. But we have here, Almond uses pathos in order to play on the audience's sympathies. Okay, that's the topic sentence of this paragraph. One way that he appeals to emotion is by shifting from a humorous tone to a more serious tone. All right, so that's general proof about how he uses pathos. And then we have, for example, midway through the article, Almond recalls the story of a time when one of his ex-girlfriends threw away a pair of shoes that were particularly meaningful to him. Almond never forgave her. All right, that's where our quote is. Never forgave her because the shoes held great sentimental value to him and reminded him of his trip to Jerusalem. So all of this red right here, that is our specific proof. That's where our quote is. And then all of this blue is commentary. Now what I want you to notice is our specific proof, our general proof, and our topic sentence. All 3 of those things together make up about half of the paragraph. And then our commentary makes up the bulk of the paragraph. That is what you should do in your paragraph. Your commentary should take up just as much space as your quotes, if not more, because the commentary is the most important part of your paragraph. That is the part where you are giving me your ideas. The purpose of an essay is not to see if you can spit back quotes that you found in your reading. The purpose of an essay is to take those quotes and then through commentary be able to explain why those quotes matter. So as you are thinking about writing your midterm essay, your rhetorical analysis, think about how much commentary you are putting in. How does this quote help Almond create pathos? One more thing before I leave you today is punctuating parenthetical citations. I want you to notice this period right here. The period in parenthetical citations goes after the citation. So you have your parentheses, you have author's last name, page number, closing parentheses, and then the period goes after the citation. That will be important. That will be a question on your midterm. If you have any questions at all, please email me. Please, please, please feel free to ask. I'm willing to help whoever needs it. And I will see you later. Thanks.